The book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 13. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. All right, before I get started, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. This is your brother Yahweh Call from the Great Millstone Orlando camp. And just back with some prophetic news. As we ought to be on our watch. As we're inching closer and closer to that dreadful day of the Lord pouring out his indignation upon the world, the nations, and even more specifically, 2/3 so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. As it said in this verse, the Lord shall prevail against his enemies. And as a matter of fact, when you read in the same chapter, Isaiah 13, Salakia, not the same chapter, but when you go to Isaiah 13, Isaiah 13 and 5, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. All right, the weapons of the Lord's indignation, going into, because the Lord gave Esau, Edom, the Lord gave Esau, Edom, the knowledge, wisdom, and knowledge and understanding on how to create these weapons of so-called mass destruction, ultimately to fulfill the Lord's purpose. As a matter of fact, let me get this. In Jeremiah 50 and verse 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Babylon being America, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right, the point being, going into the purposes against Babylon. All right, because again, the Lord gave Esau the power dealing with these so-called weapons of mass destruction, not to fulfill Esau's purposes, because Esau, he has purposes, he has plans, he has his own agenda, but the Lord's will, the Lord's purposes supersedes all things. All right, and the purposes, the counsel that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi has established against Babylon, Esau, is to take him down, mainly through those ICBM missiles, which all this talk of nuclear threat, again, as we're inching closer and closer to the day of the Lord pouring out his indignation, the day of the Lord's indignation. All right. So that's why I read that Isaiah 42. All right. Because the Lord, he's stirring these nations up and gearing them towards this third world's woe. All right. A third World War III. All right. Which Russia who are the current inhabitants of the land of Gog and Magog, also the current inhabitants of the land of the Medes. Russia will be a main tool in Babylon's destruction. All right. So with all this talk of with all this talk of, you know, Vladimir Putin, Russia, which they're not but Russian Edomites. All right. And the Lord still has it out for them as well. You know. Again, Russia will be a major tool in Babylon's destruction. All right. So with that being said, I'm just going to play this video here by Steve Ram. Just going into some more wars and rumors of wars.
Breaking news alert coming out. We're hearing that today, August 27, 2024, the United States has just received a direct World War III warning and threat from Russia. And we are hearing that Russia is clarifying. They're saying making modifications to their nuclear doctrine. Now, this article is going to be linked directly in the description below for you, coming out from Reuters today. It says that Russia is warning the United States of the risks of World War III. So this just coming out today. I'm going to go ahead and share with you the latest coming out on this. And if you guys appreciate the breaking news updates, keeping you up to speed on everything that is going on, do me a favor before we dive in. Please hit that like button. Just takes a second, and subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. And like I said, this article is referenced. I cite all my sources. It's going to be linked directly in the description below, so you can read this for yourself as well. But this article coming out says today, August the 27th, that Russia said that the West was playing.
Here is how to be a video gamer forever in less than 60 seconds. Now hear me out. If you're anything like me, then you love
The West was playing with fire by considering allowing Ukraine to strike deep into Russia with Western missiles, and cautioned the United States directly on Tuesday today that World War III would not be confined to Europe. So we had heard Russia warning about the West, saying that the nations of Europe, all of their cities were in close proximity and densely populated, essentially saying that if they hit them with nuclear weapons or missiles, that it would be easy to take out. But today, clarification coming from Russia to the United States specifically, saying our retaliation will not be confined to Europe. You will also be included. Ukraine attacked Russia's western Kursk region on August the 6th and has carved out.
Because real quick, and that's the spirit stopped at 1441. But again, with all this talk of war and rumors of wars, you know, which this was also a part of Rome's downfall, which this example that I'm about to use is one of many examples showing us that America is nothing but a regeneration of the pagan Roman ancient Roman Empire. All right, because one of the contributing factors to Rome's downfall was them spreading their military too thin. You know. Now with all this Russia-Ukraine talk, all right, you know, pretty much Putin is getting sick and tired. The fact that Babylon is supplying Ukraine with all this weaponry, all right, which by default would make eventually Russia come out to Babylon, right? Now that's just one forefront. All right, you got China is getting ready to invade Taiwan, which we know or should know. America backs Taiwan, so by default, when China invades Taiwan, by default, China's going to come out to Babylon. The whole back and forth between Israel and Iran. All right. The fact that America backs Israel by default, when Israel and Iran go at it, by default, you know, Iran being that he's backed, Iran, the so-called Iranians are backed by major key players such as Russia. All right, one of the top players. All right. And again, by default, Iran could touch Babylon, North Korea, and South Korea, which America backs South Korea. So when North Korea, South Korea start going at it, by default, North Korea could touch Babylon. All right. So a thing of spreading the military too thin. You know, America is on multiple forefronts, which is not good. All right. Again, this is all part of the Council Against Babylon. So reading or playing on.
Slice of territory in the biggest foreign attack on Russia since World War II. President Vladimir Putin said there would be a worthy response from Russia to this attack. Now, Sergei Lavrov, who has served as Putin's foreign minister for more than 20 years, said that the West was seeking to escalate the Ukraine war and was, quote, asking for trouble by considering Ukrainian requests to loosen curbs on using foreign supplied weapons. Since invading Ukraine in 2022, Putin has repeatedly warned of the risk of a much broader war involving the world's biggest nuclear powers, though he has said that Russia does not want a conflict with the United States-led NATO alliance. So we're hearing that Russia is...
None of these nations want nuclear conflict. You know, but again, that's why I read the Isaiah 42. Yahweh Bashem Shai is the one that's stirring the minds of these kings and gearing them up towards this war, this third world war.
Saying that they don't want to cause conflict, yet we're hearing these warnings coming out directly to the United States today of World War III. We are now confirming once again that playing with fire, and they are like small children playing with matches, is a very dangerous thing for grown-up uncles and aunts who are entrusted with nuclear weapons in one or another Western country, Lavrov told reporters in Moscow. Americans unequivocally associate conversations with Third World War as something that, God forbid, if it happens, will affect Europe exclusively, Lavrov said. Lavrov added that Russia was clarifying its nuclear doctrine. So this is something that we've been hearing for a while, that Russia was saying that it was going to be changing its nuclear doctrine, the escalate to de-escalate clause, in which they could essentially do preemptive attacks to stop other nations from attacking them and threatening their sovereignty. What we're hearing, we've been hearing for quite some time, that this was going to be unfolding. Now we're hearing it is happening right now. Russia is clarifying their nuclear doctrines so that way they can essentially justify any nuclear attacks that might be necessary in the near future. Russia's 2020 nuclear doctrine sets out when its president would consider using a nuclear weapon, broadly as a response to an attack using nuclear or other weapons of mass destruction or conventional weapons when the very existence of the state is put under threat. Russia's response. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said earlier this month that the assault on Russia's Kursk region showed that Kremlin threats of retaliation were a bluff. Now, Zelensky said Ukraine, because of the restrictions imposed by allies, could not use the weapons at its disposal to hit some Russian military targets. He urged allies to be bolder in their decisions about how to help Kiev in the war. So Ukraine is telling the United States and NATO, the European Western allies, to be more bold in their decisions against Russia.
Y'all heard the news, right? The southern border in Texas is still letting migrants in, and guess what? The gov's handing out
be more bold in their decisions against Russia. Russia has said that Western weaponry, including British tanks and U.S. rocket systems, have been used by Ukraine in Kursk. Kiev has confirmed using U.S. HIMARS missiles to take out bridges in Kursk as well. So this is what Russia is very upset about, saying these are directly coming from the United States against Russia. Now, Washington says that it was not informed about Ukraine's plans ahead of the surprise incursion into Kursk. The United States has also said that it did not take any part in the operation. So the United States saying they were not involved. Putin's foreign intelligence chief, Sergei Narishkin, said on Tuesday that Moscow did not believe Western assertions that it had nothing to do with the Kursk attack. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybakov said that the involvement of the United States was an obvious fact. So the United States saying we've had no involvement in these whatsoever. Russia saying that they think the United States is lying, and they are issuing World War III warnings today. The New York Times reported that the United States and Britain provided Ukraine with satellite imagery and other information about the Kursk region in the days after the Ukrainian attack. The Times said that the intelligence was aimed at helping Ukraine keep better track of Russian enforcements. So they are saying that these are direct threats that are being issued from Russia to the United States as of today, August 27, 2024. In addition to that, we're seeing that potential nuclear doctrines being changed for the escalate to de-escalate. And the United States and Russia, we're hearing Russia saying they do not want to enter into a war with the United States. But these are the two largest nuclear powers in the world.
Yeah, no one wants this nuclear fallout. But Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So you see, there it is. The Lord is the one that's in control. Because these nations don't want this nuclear war. They don't want a nuclear fallout. But I like to think about it, because even when it comes to pressing those red buttons, all right, those nuke buttons, even if the nations don't want to do it, hey, this is just a little, joke, but even if the nations don't want to do it, when it comes down to it, the angel's gonna be right there. And the angel's gonna press those buttons, because this is all the will of the Lord, man. You know.
So we will see. Right now, we're hearing that Ukraine is pushing forward into Russia, and Russia is responding back that they are taking this very seriously. Things could be escalating. Now, let me know your thoughts on this. We've been hearing for quite some time Russia with these warnings. However, now we're hearing that they are changing these nuclear doctrines, and they're directly threatening the United States. Now, in the past, we've heard them say the West, which can also include the United States, but this is directly towards us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are we going to be looking at World War III here very soon? If so, put a 3. If you think no, that these are empty threats, nothing to be concerned about, put a 4. I'd be curious to see what people's thoughts are in the comments, as these are coming out today, August 27, 2024, directly from Russia to the United States, as they are saying that World War III could be right around the corner. And again, this article is going to be linked down in the description for you, as this has come out today. This particular one's from Reuters. I saw several of these that says Russia warns the United States of the risks of World War III. And the bullet points again was Lavrov says that the West is playing with fire over what is unfolding in Ukraine. Russia is clarifying its nuclear doctrines right now. Lavrov talks about the dangers of World War III, and a spy chief. We don't believe the West over Kursk. So they are saying that the West right now, the United States saying we had nothing to do with it. Russia saying we don't believe you. You are lying, and you are potentially playing with fire here, as we could be looking at World War III here very soon with the retaliation that is to unfold. So again, this is going to be linked in the description below for you guys. Right now, all you got to do is go ahead and search nuclear doctrine, Russia, World War III, and you will go ahead and see all of these coming up today, August the 27th, 2024. Now, as more comes out on this, I will be sure to keep you guys up.
Jeremiah 51 and 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. So like I mentioned earlier, going back to how America, Babylon, is military is being spread too thin, and backing all these different other nations. Well, by default, when these other nations invade these nations that America backs by default, like I mentioned, China, when they invade Taiwan, by default, since America backs Taiwan, China is going to touch America as well. All right. Like I mentioned with Iran and Israel, because presumed to Ezekiel 38. All these nations are going to link with Babylon, Salakia. All these nations are going to link with Russia. All right. And what's going on over there in the so-called Middle East, that's something to definitely keep an eye on. All right. Because once those two really start going at it, which we are on the brink. All right. Now, before it goes nuclear, before this goes fully kinetic, that MOTB does have to come to pass. All right. So with all this talk of nuclear war, Putin, Russia directly threatening Babylon, you know, we got to be close. Lord willing, sooner than soon, we got to be close, you know. But nevertheless, these other nations are more and more going to side. They've been already siding with Russia, starting with the BRICS nations. All right. More and more of America's allies are going to turn against America. And they're going to side with the kings of the Medes. Like I said again in Jeremiah 51 and 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. Now, again, the current inhabitants of the Medes today, that area would be the so-called Russians. It says the captains thereof and all the rulers thereof and all the land of his dominion. All right, so again, going into the taking down of Babylon. All right, these nations, they're going to more and more link with Russia. But like I mentioned earlier, Russia is a major, Russia will be a major tool used by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in America's destruction. All right, so the fact that, again, Russia is directly the threatening, sending threats to the West. All right, again, it's just inching closer and closer to that time. Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Because again, pursuant to that Ezekiel 38, the time is going to come. It says in Ezekiel 38, the Lord's going to put an evil thought. Matter of fact, let me get it. Something's going to happen to where, they just going to say the hell with it. And it's like I just read in Isaiah 13, you're not going to be able to bargain. No gold, nor silver, you're not going to be able to bargain. Because again, the Lord is ultimately the one that's controlling all of this. He's controlling the minds of these different kings. All right. Which there is no such thing as free will. We are all being mind controlled. All right. There is no such thing as free will. So the Lord is controlling everything. But in Ezekiel 38 and verse 10, thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. All right, so something's going to happen to where, America's going to do something to the point of no return, to where, from there, that's going to be all she wrote. Them Russians and all its allies, everyone's going to shoot their missiles, end up shooting their missiles on Babylon. But Russia, again, is going to be pretty much, take charge, a major tool in Babylon's destruction. Some more threats to the West. All right. And hopefully this is edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, elect.